Our planet is alive. From the shores of Antarctica to the plains of Africa. It's a world of great beauty and stunning diversity. But it also has a dark side. Life on Earth is filled with predation, rivalry, and brutality. What created this sometimes beautiful, sometimes violent drama called life? Breakthroughs in our understanding of evolution can now explain how animal life first arose, how it fought to survive in the ancient past, and how it still struggles today. We now know that behavior has been shaped by conflict, battles for mates, in predators chasing prey, through family tensions and intelligent mind games. We share the Earth with other veterans of life's 4 billion-year war for survival. The astounding variety of winners in this ancient battle is the triumph of life. Tropical shore 65 million years ago. Life has already existed for more than 3 billion years. The struggle to survive continues. Troodontid dinosaurs hunt on beaches. Primitive seabirds return from a hard day's fishing. Below the waves, turtles navigate dangerous waters. Huge predatory pliosaurs patrol the coast. Only the fastest and most alert survive. Like all creatures, they fight to continue their lineage, and the turtles are compelled to nest despite the dangers. The ancient battle for survival has always produced winners and losers. Those that live and those that die. But it was the dinosaurs, not turtles, that were doomed. Today, only fossil bones testify to the dinosaurs' ancient rule, but life itself survived. Turtles still hatch on tropical beaches. The world has changed in the last 65 million years, but the fight to survive remains the same. Many set out, but not all of them will reach the sea. There are still predators waiting. But these tiny turtles must run the gauntlet. It's the race of their lives. Their path is full of obstacles, and this journey is always a struggle. But the odds of survival are not random. Each individual is a unique product of its parents, and some have a biological advantage over others. Moving swiftly in company is the safest bet. Getting left behind or lost can be fatal. While the weak succumb, the strong struggle on. As the race to the sea continues, one hatchling heads inland. But this is no place for a sea turtle. For other creatures, the land has provided huge opportunities. Over the years, many animals have escaped the sea and now live here. Crocodiles have barely changed since the age of dinosaurs, while birds have evolved into many different forms. Mammals have also diversified in body and behavior. All living things on Earth are triumphant veterans of the 4 billion-year war of evolution, which has raged since life first appeared. The cast of life's drama is not fixed, as over time weak creatures succumb and strong ones prevail. The rules of the war seem harsh. Some individuals must fail in order for others to triumph. But only the winners will emerge from the battleground to carry their family line forward. Some of the young turtles make it through the ranks of predators which have gorged until they can eat no more. Now they face the continuing challenge of life. Those fittest for the rigors ahead may one day return to breed themselves. As genetic secrets of success are passed from one generation to the next, life evolves. But clues to a shared ancestry remain hidden within every animal. Some skeletons reveal remarkable similarities. Bony fingers, limbs and backbones, though subtly altered, are recognizable in very different vertebrates. Birds, sharks and turtles are far more alike than they appear on the surface. To find out what makes different creatures look the way they do, we have to go back to the beginning. A turtle, about to hatch, already has a clearly identifiable shell and flippers. A week or so earlier, these features are less distinct. A young embryo could be almost any vertebrate, with spine, eyes and 4 stubby limbs. Further back, it appears more fish-like, and before that, just a mass of dividing cells. At the very beginning, it's a single cell, but one containing the complete blueprint for a turtle. At the heart of the cell lie chromosomes, and within them lies the key to life itself, the most incredible substance on Earth, a unique molecule in the shape of a double helix, DNA. DNA copies itself with near-perfect accuracy. The genetic information it contains shapes the variety of life on Earth and drives evolution forward. African hunting dogs are distinct from other kinds of dog. And individuals differ from each other in many ways, including the unique markings on each dog's coat. They get their looks from their parents through their genes, but they also inherit much more. Even the urge to hunt, vital to their survival, is programmed from birth. Only good hunters live to breed themselves. A pack has one dominant breeding male, and his distinctive white tail markings can be seen in some of his pups. Not all the pups look the same because half their genes come from their darker mother. With a mix of genes from 2 successful parents, there's a good chance they'll grow up strong and continue their family line. Genes shape every detail of animal form. Some have brought recent innovations, but many originated way back in time and have survived through countless generations. But how did life first begin? What kinds of creatures were the ancestors of those alive today? And how did the first genes, the original threads of life, arise? Primeval Earth, 4 billion years ago. The toxic air was devoid of oxygen. Molten lava spewed into a noxious sea. And yet, these were the perfect conditions for the building blocks of life to form. These poisonous waters may have been the crucibles of creation. Chemicals rained in, and ultraviolet radiation and lightning bombarded them, gradually forming a sort of organic soup. Somehow, amid the chaos, order and complexity emerged. A very special molecule with an elegant spiral shape developed. It was able to copy itself faster than it was destroyed, and so it multiplied. This was the origin of life. And once it found protection inside cell walls, life was set to transform the planet. When cells first trapped the sun's energy 3.5 billion years ago, life began to blossom. The oceans teemed with simple plants, and mats of them, layered with sediment, built the world's first living monuments, stromatolites. For over 1 billion years, these 3-foot-high mounds were the pinnacles of life's progress. But the Earth would really be transformed by their waste: oxygen. This new gas, at first toxic to all life, gave rise to the ozone layer. Now shielded from the sun's damaging ultraviolet rays, life made huge advances. Plants which had produced oxygen in the first place now came under threat from primitive animals that thrived on oxygen and consumed them. Single-celled animals like amoebae and ciliates engulf plants. 2 billion years ago, these primitive animals did what grazing mammals do today. They used oxygen to burn up plant food. But how did the huge variety of creatures on Earth today arise from such simple origins? Progress came when identical cells teamed up to form cooperative bodies. And life really moved on when cells began to specialize. In jellyfish, for example, some gave propulsion, while others caught food. Multi-celled life was now taking shape. And the advance was driven by genes deep within. Breakthroughs in understanding how genes organize bodies have shed new light on the evolution of complex animals. As embryos develop, some genes control which cells do what. It was the emergence of these special genes that organize bodies into segments with head ends and tail ends that allowed evolution to take off. $550 million years ago, life exploded into a multitude of new complex forms. Many of these classic designs still survive today. Segmented worms crawled over the seabed. And life began to move in more elaborate ways. New, strangely shaped animals appeared, encased in tough skeletons with flexible joints. Genes that built better eyes and successful body shapes survived. The pace of life increased as new dynamic breeds of animal preyed on one another. Defense became vital, so armor plating and spines developed. Predatory worms could be defeated by tough shells and escape maneuvers. All the basic animal groups alive today emerged in just 50 million years. The previous 3 billion had led to nothing more complex than jellyfish. But life came under threat from one of the first large predators. More than 3 feet long, Anomalocaris was the scourge of the ancient seas. But the big predator's days were numbered by a little creature whose line would eventually take over the world. Pikaia was a primitive chordate that gently filtered food from water, just as lancelets still do today. But this tiny creature was in fact ancestral to our own vertebrate line. Pikaia had a spine of cartilage supporting its muscles. This light, strong design allowed it to make speedy escapes. The seas in Pikaia's day were still dominated by invertebrates. These heavily armed creatures were the top predators and scavengers for another 100 million years. Today's crustaceans reflect these ancient armored creatures, but invertebrates are not the force they once were. Alongside them, Pikaia's vertebrate descendants also survived, and one line evolved into fish. They had no jaws, like today's lampreys, but compared to most invertebrates, they had better eyesight and sharper brains. And this meant they were more alert and had faster reactions. Fish became faster, sleeker, and far more numerous. They developed bony spines and toothy jaws. the sea became a much more dangerous place. But while the oceans were full of life, the virgin land beyond lay uninhabited. "450 million years ago, that changed. Life invaded from the sea. These are horseshoe crabs, ancient relatives of spiders. They still emerge on only a few tides a year, just as the ancestors have done for hundreds of millions of years. Pioneers like these were among the first waves of life to reach the land. By 400 million years ago, much of the earth was cloaked in green. Plants had colonized fresh waters and then spread onto land. And once they were established, animals soon followed. Centipedes were among the first land creatures. They developed simple lungs and skin that kept vital water in. Scorpions, cousins of the horseshoe crabs, also made an early move onto land. Since then, their line of eight-legged predators has spread far and wide. The invertebrates were the first animals to come ashore, but others were not far behind. The first amphibians emerged from the swamps some 350 million years ago. Their soft, moist skins absorbed some oxygen, and simple lungs allowed them to breathe air. The exertion of hauling themselves over land required plenty of fuel. But the land was now crawling with life. The first flightless insects made easy prey. Despite their delicate skin, many amphibians came to live on land, as the feeding opportunities there were so good, but they were confined to damp places. The insects, however, went much further. 320 million years ago, some forms underwent a remarkable change. Governed by new genes, they transformed into very different creatures. They grew wings. Life was about to conquer the air as well as the land. The power of flight gave insects a huge advantage. They now make up more than half the animal species on Earth, and they've reached almost every corner of the planet. Unlike their swamp-dwelling ancestors, they have gone on to invade some of the driest places on Earth. Ants are by far the most numerous insects of all, and their social habits have helped them to succeed around the world. But here, they are not alone. Reptiles, evolved from amphibians but with a tougher waterproof skin, ventured where amphibians could not go. Reptiles also pioneered another survival strategy. Waterproof eggs allowed them to breed in dry places. Inside the eggs, the developing young were bathed in individual miniature oceans. The reptiles were on the verge of global domination. But one thing held them back. Now that their skin was water and airtight, breathing became a problem. Lizards breathe by expanding and contracting their chests, so because of the way they walk, they often have to hold their breath. Their sprawling gait, inherited from ancestral fish, forces their chests to flex as they walk. This means their lungs can't expand to draw in air, and lizards easily become breathless. The ancestors of the crocodiles, though, developed far more stamina. By standing up on their legs. No longer swaying from side to side, these high-stepping reptiles could breathe easily as they strode relentlessly across the land. And they couldn't just walk, they could sprint. Today, the crocodiles have returned to the water and only rarely trek overland. But 200 million years ago, the small steps their ancestors took heralded a giant evolutionary leap forward. The dinosaurs began their tyrannical reign of the world. But the future would belong to the mammals living quietly in the shadow of the dinosaurs. 65 million years ago, the world suffered a massive upheaval. All the great dinosaurs disappeared. But many creatures survived, including the mammals. In the void left by the dinosaurs, the mammals found a world of new opportunities. Many teamed up for survival and came to live in ever bigger families. This successful but complex way of life led to higher intelligence. In a dazzling range of forms around the world, the mammals have followed in the dinosaurs' footsteps. They have taken over the roles of powerful predators, resourceful scavengers, and grazers. And they ventured into the world's harshest regions. The waterhole is a meeting place for many mammals. Their varied forms reflect both their different ways of life and the long evolutionary war their predecessors fought to survive. This war has resulted in mammals that come in a huge variety of shapes and sizes. And some now need to be wary of others. Mammals have taken center stage. But have the dinosaurs all disappeared? Perhaps not entirely. Birds are really feathered dinosaurs. One line of small, fast-moving and most likely warm-blooded dinosaurs evolved into birds. The secret of bird success is their feathers. As well as insulating them from heat and cold, feathers gave birds a further power. A power that made life much harder for their predators. birds have conquered the air just as mammals have mastered the land. The vertebrates have come a long way since their lowly origins in the sea. These products of evolution might seem perfect, but the process never ceases. And when new opportunities arise, further change can always occur. On the Galapagos Islands, a variety of creatures have returned to the cradle of their ancestors, the sea. Evolved from land lizards that found the best feeding on the seashore. Many would have been washed in, but those that swam survived drowning, and today their descendants also dive in to reap the rewards below. These bizarre reptiles, moulded in form and action by evolution, swim out to sea every day to harvest the choicest seaweed. Fish have lured other animals to the sea. Galapagos cormorants evolved from flying birds, but their wings have shrunk into feeble vestiges. Penguins also gave up flight further back in time, and now have flippers where their ancestors had wings. Sea lions too evolved from land creatures, and like all sea mammals, they must still breathe air, even when asleep underwater. All of these creatures have returned to the water and have once more mastered the ocean. In the battle for survival, evolution constantly reshapes life to take advantage of opportunities wherever they arise. Today, a sleek swimming mammal competes for fish with a supreme aerial master, winning designs that both evolved from reptiles, now in a battle for life. Even at the ends of the earth, life has found a way to triumph. Wherever animals are found, they are moulded for survival by the rigors they confront. King penguins struggle ashore from the waters of the Antarctic. Conditions here are harsh, but this frozen land is covered with vibrant life. Despite all adversities, countless new lives continue the battle for survival. The young carry the genes of successful parents forward through time. their lives and their genes will be tested to the limits. Our world is filled with the triumphant survivors of evolution's 4-billion-year war. And evolution continues to shape the lives of every living creature on Earth.
Lord.